Hey, Sheridan, I wonder where on earth you are, man. So I'm starting things a little bit early. Um, the things start at 1:15, but I had some technical issues. The long story short is Google now has so many security features that it blocks your camera from actually streaming unless you tell it to give unless you give it the right permissions. That's what I'm trying to say. And so, anyway, I started way early so that I would make sure that I didn't disappoint folks by toying with it and getting frustrated with it. So, anyway, yeah. So, uh, so Sheridan, I assume you're on the road, or you may be at your location. I hope that you're doing well and you're safe. And always so great to interact with you. Um, so here we go. We got Nanny Goat. She says, "Hey Don, is it raining there yet?" It has rained beautifully twice now. Let's see, Friday and last night. So incredible. I can't believe all the rain we're getting. So cool. Okay, we've got Mike's Eaton 725 says, "Hey Don, hey Mike, thanks for joining." Sheridan says it's freezing up there in the west, the northwest, somewhere, California or Oregon. Can't remember which. And we got Sherry and Craig from Arkansas. Wow. Oh, folks, you can help me out here. Do you know that do you know in Arkansas, can you do an off-grid situation and not have to do permits and all of that type of thing? I've been curious about that state. Omega Royal says, yes, you should. And I assume that's in response to uh, should you do a garden or should you grow things? Oh, we got our mate from Perth, Western Australia. Oh, love Oz for sure. Uh, I haven't been to Perth since 2008, but great place. Out of Perth, I went down to the Stirling Mountains Range, gorgeous place, and just no end of great birds there. And Michelle Jones is here. Hey, Michelle, how's things? Are you on a property yet, or are you still in the planning stages? I'm wondering. So yeah, Perth, Australia. I got to see a lot of great parrots. I love the parrot group, elegant parrots, Western rosellas, Western corellas, red cap parrots, rock parrots. Anyway, I won't go on and on about the parrots. Okay, so Michelle says I definitely should grow vegetables because I like to eat. Well, boy, that's the truth for sure. And Michelle is still planning, but getting closer to her great off grid move, which is really cool. And we got Tom here. Uh, I've interacted with Tom, goodness, I think for 6 years now. And thanks again, Tom, AKA Common Man. Thumbs up. Very cool. Well, I'm kind of owning my lack of tech and IT ability because there's probably a way to pause a live stream and then kick it in gear again. And I need to learn that because what I could have done is started the live stream, made sure it was working okay, paused it, and then showed up at 1:15, which is when things are scheduled for. But what's really interesting is there's 40 people here already, and that is really, really neat. Michelle says, sorry, I meant grow what you like to eat, not just what people suggest. Right, that's true, Michelle. And we'll get into that topic a little bit later as more folks join us here. Um, I'm trying to learn just what would be good here and what would deal with our heat and dryness and just what I could realistically do. So that's going to be a learning curve, and we're going to get into it a little bit later. I was wondering, I wanted to spring this on you folks that are here, all 37, all 41 of you. I've been thinking that I really enjoy these lives, and I haven't been doing very many of them. And I'm just wondering who would watch if I did, like, say, one a month. Try that again. Who would watch if I did, like, say, one a month? So I'll just drop that one out there and see. And if you wouldn't, then that's fine too. You could just say, well, once every several months is fine. Or you could say, no, I would definitely watch one once a month. Let's see. We've got Nanny Goat says eggplant grows good in dry places. That's good. I like eggplant too, Nanny. A buddy of mine just won't touch it. He hates the texture. I'm going to be a little indelicate here. He says it's just awful. It reminds me of mucus, and I hate it. Not me. I think they're great. So James Bass says one a month would be good, and Michelle would watch it too. Ozzy Rojas says, hello, Don. How have you spent on the house build? Maybe how much have I spent on the house build? I haven't totaled it up. It's not real bad, but I would need to see it. I'm guessing around 30 grand is what I'm guessing until I pull out all the receipts and total it up. And Gatfield says, it's 4 a.m. here. Oh, wow. That's dedicated to be up that early. I hope you didn't get up that early just to see me, but if you did, that would be great. I mean, I really appreciate that. James says one a week is also good. Wow, that's really, really cool. Oh, folks, you might have noticed an increase in number of videos. I have tried to get on the ball and create more of them. Okay. And so now you're seeing them about once a week now. So, and I assume that that's a good thing. I've had folks several times say, look, Don, we just wish you would put out more videos, and you all watch them. So that's a good sign. Let's see. Nanny says once, as in once a month, and our lives monetized. They are, Nanny, and that's a really helpful thing for sure. I really appreciate it. And Jerome Pitcher says a neighbor of mine made a nice profit growing peppers and other fresh spices and supplying local restaurants. You don't need to go that wild, Jerry says. Well, what I've been doing, folks, is this. I've been selling my Paulownia trees at the Alfreda's Farmers Market. What's fun is I'm meeting some of you who have been watching the channel for years. I met two ladies who's been watching this channel since it began, and 6 years ago now. And well, 6 years ago, 6 years this October. And that was really neat. So very, very cool. And let's see. So yeah, Jerry says you could do peppers, and that would be cool. And number vibration says, hi, Don. I'm willing to watch live a couple times a month. Wow, well, that's cool. That's very helpful. And then Gadfield says, I suggest test using a self-watering wicking system. Yes, that's the plan. I'm definitely gonna do something like that. And with good fortune, I may be starting to build that type of thing, believe it or not, maybe even as early as the end of the week. Um, Paul Chauncey says, I would watch it. Growing vegetables is safer now than buying them and cheaper. Yeah, you have to wonder what's in vegetables and fruit these days. And even though I only eat organic vegetables, honestly, I get them in Safeway in plastic bags. And quite honestly here, I just love the taste of fresh garden produce. And 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 the big hitch has been there's just so little time, you know, overall time and energy wise for someone who's a little more mature, quote unquote mature. There's only so much time in the week to devote to things other than building, like gardening. So yeah, uh, but I'm still thinking I can wiggle that in somehow. Just start small. Let's see. And Shane Michaels here. Hey, Shane, faithful viewer, you are. Hey, Don, need a strong screened-in area first, and most likely raised boxes with wire at the bottom. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, especially the wire at the bottom. And then we got Deacon Mama. Hey, Don and chat. Hey, Deacon Mama. Nanny says eggplant sauteed in oil with tomatoes and peppers is yummy over rice. Yeah, that does sound really good. And Gad says also a semi-underground glass house. You can then extend veggie growing into winter. That would make sense. Do you know what's interesting? I was chatting at the market on Saturday, yesterday, with a lady that grows things here. She's only an hour from me. And she says, what I could literally do because of our climate is manage growing vegetables by literally staggering the crops and rotating them and literally grow stuff all year round. And that was surprising to me. I'm not sure what would grow in January, honestly, December, January, but maybe broccoli, cauliflower. If you have any ideas about that, let me know. And I know most of you are not from here. And James says even some organic veggies are sprayed. I don't like the sound of that. So, okay, but helpful to know. And Winston says, Don, I would watch once a month. Very cool. And then we got SFCD Amici. We'll try that anyway. Hi, Don. Was fortunate enough to have served at Fort Huachuca in early 80s. We lived in an area called Apache Flats. And got to tell you, our swamp cooler saved our lives. Cool and moist, you bet. You know, that brings me to a point, guys, is that I'm a really odd creature. Like, I don't know how warm it is right now in the cabin, probably 90. And I'm just a really odd creature in that it takes about 100 inside for me to get to a point where I'm really uncomfortable, to the point where, you know, I got to do something. I mean, obviously it's nicer after 90 I've got a tower fan that I put on when it reaches about 90. But I'm an odd person that way. And just for fun, I did a little research, and not to bore you with details, but my mom was 10% Nigerian Ghanaian. So because her granddad was a descendant, actually, probably a descendant of slaves who came from Bermuda. Okay, so I mean, obviously, I don't look like that. I don't look like I'm African because just the eyes, because I'm only 5% African. But I wondered if just 5% can channel into your biological makeup enough to make you really heat tolerant. And from what I've researched, that is possible. So, anyway, a little bit of a rabbit trail and more info than you probably need. But anyway, I'm not easily overheated. Okay, and we've got Jack 5151. Hi Don, nice to catch you live. Hey Jack, thanks for coming by and seeing me and joining me, or I say and joining me. Here we go. And then Jeff says, hi Don, I love your DIY videos and I've learned a ton from you, sir. I live in Naples, Florida, and have a homestead near Yuma, Arizona, off 1-8. Thank you for the education. Oh, you're so welcome. And the thanks goes to you for watching. You know, folks, without you guys watching, I would keep the channel going just for friends, but there would be no income. And now it's a source of income. And plus, some of you have sent gifts, a lot of you have sent gifts through the Amazon wish list, and that's just incredible. And then here, for example, here down below, if you'll see a little dollar sign at the bottom of the chat, and some folks have actually clicked on that too, and that's always really kind. Don't feel obligated, but there's just X amount of ways for support. And also buy me a coffee, aka Gatorade. Some folks have been supporting me through that too. So all of this helps an incredible amount. So thank you. Okay. Oh, Sheridan says, I would watch once a week or one time a month. It would give me something to look forward to on a weekly basis. Sunday too soon after church is easy to miss a live feed. Right. And Sheridan, I normally prefer to do Saturdays, but the market yesterday kept me there in Elfrida later than too late to do that. So the plan is to do them on Saturdays instead of Sundays. Sabine 3191 says, or Sabina 3191 says, hi Don, you can also have large pots elevated on cinder blocks. That's how I started out. Definitely fence an area in, or the wildlife will have an all-you-can-eat buffet. Oh, no question. There are so many creatures that can eat a garden here. I mean, I would take up a lot of the live feed, the time, just talking about all of the creatures, because there are so many here. And then Gadfell says, 1 cubic yard bulk containers, lots of YouTube videos on how to make the wicking beds. Yeah, that would be fun. Common Man Tom says, I would watch one a week. As for your garden, shade cloths a must. No question. Yeah, no question. That intense Arizona sun will put the boots to a lot of plants and make them not happy pretty quick. James says, you need a good battery bank along with a good solar setup. Then you can run your air conditioning all night, resulting in good night's sleep. James, that's true. But again, with me, when it cools down to 80, I'm good. I sleep well in 80, even in 80 degrees. But I have enough power to run a really light AC type unit. And there are so many on the market. For example, with my solar panels and my solar generators, I have about, how many watts of storage? Let me calculate here. 35. I have over 10,000 watts of storage that's fully charged by about 10 in the morning. So I'm doing really good solar-wise. Deacon Mama says, Don, are mice and rats a massive problem for you or not really? No, they're not. And, I'll say it and it'll happen tomorrow. I have never had a mouse or rat in this little cabin. Never. Now, it's on cinder blocks, the cabin is still, and there's no place for them to hide. Yet they could easily go up the cinder blocks and crawl in through various cracks and crevices. I would say it's because there's so many things that eat rodents here. If it's not the rattlesnakes, it's the gopher snakes. If it's not the gopher snakes, it's the bull snakes. The king snakes. If it's not the king snakes, it's the roadrunners. If it's not the roadrunners, it's the red-tailed hawks. Not the red-tailed hawks, it's the northern harriers. If it's not the northern harriers, it's the Swainson's hawks. It's not them, it's the coyotes, etc. So to make it to maturity as a rodent, you've got to be one smart little creature. Nanny says, one garden every year, mostly veggies, but flowers too. Gardening is fun. I love hotter weather, but love cooler weather too. Snow, skiing especially. First 35 years in Canada, I lived practically on snow and ice, recreation-wise, cross-country skiing, skating on open lakes, snowshoeing, etc. But I got really tired of being so cold all the time. Only one frost-free month of the year. And I just have always loved tropics and heat, so I'm in my element here. Billy the Kid, hey Don, how are you doing? Good, I hope. I hope you've got the AC on over there. It's hot. No AC on. I was thinking of putting the tower fan on. I suppose I could after a while, but I'm not going to interrupt for now. Oh, maybe I will. Excuse me 1 second. All right, got the rotating tower fan, which is out of view. It says it's rotating nicely, and it feels nice. It says 89 degrees. So that's a good indication of how hot it needs to be before I get uncomfortable. Again, I'm very atypical. I can be with 12 friends, and I'm the only one who wants to go hiking or doing work or whatnot in the heat. Now, the other side is I can be with friends. They're sitting around a room and it's 68 degrees, and they go, this is wonderful. I hate 68 degrees. I'm chilled. I hate it with a passion. 75 is all right. Anyway, so all that to tell you all about heat, and I've chatted about it a lot, but I am very, very heat tolerant. James says 10,000 by 10 a.m. That is good. Yeah, James, it's and the beautiful thing too is that even in the monsoon season, like right now, if I've got all of my appliances or a lot of them running, I can drain things down, my batteries set up, which I do in monsoon season, especially because it's cloudy, to about 60%. But then what happens here in the monsoon season is the clouds go away for especially early in the morning, and it's blue sky for hours. And then all of a sudden I'm charged to 100%. And then, so if the next day is totally cloudy and rainy, I still have enough storage. I'm still good. James says coyotes or coyotes. I'd be making sure my 270 was always close by. Well, James, I actually like them. I mean, I had them right outside my window. I'm sleeping. It's at 1 a.m. and they start carrying on. And they're always snooping around my property. I see droppings. They drink from my wildlife pond, I'm sure. I haven't seen that. I haven't had a trail cam up for a few years. I got to get another one. But they use my yard all the time. I actually like them. Their yipping, yapping sound. I don't know. I get all nostalgic about the wild or something. I just like them. And honestly, too, you got to remember, they're 30 pounds soaking wet. They're also very smart. Um, this is ranch country. They get shot. Um, and it's amazing that these ones are this bold, I think. And they're very, uh, very, 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 very sharp, brilliant canine. I mean, one of the smartest canines on the planet. So what that means is I'm not bothered by them. I mean, one gets even anywhere close, I just go boo or throw a rock at it. It's going to be hightailing it in no time. So I'm not bothered by them. I like them. And they do a real number on rodents, which is good. Nanny says, your porch and steps turned out great. Anything you change or add? Oh, Nanny, I totally, totally love, 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 love those things. You know, I just, I crafted them and designed them thinking I know what I want. I just don't know what it'll turn out like. And so it's like it was like a paint by numbers set up. You just do it and it turns out really nice. So it's all hard work and putting it together. I started out by just literally taking two chairs, sitting them side by side, and pretending it was me and one of my taller friends enjoying the birds in my yard. And could we sit there with a little table with a cup of coffee on it from my friend? I hate coffee. Um, and that's what I'd used to decide how big it would be. Now, what does need improvement? There is one of those paver stones that I think it was so hot when I put the mortar in, it's worked itself loose so that if I step on it, it makes a tiny sound and gives a tiny fraction. Not at all dangerous, but enough to, with someone like me who likes to do things well, enough to annoy me. So I'll redo that one. And there's one other that on the side that I have to redo that's not impacting anything. So I have to uh, redo those and put the fresh mortar in and pop them in place. Otherwise, they turned out beautiful. The height I just kind of guessed, but then of course at the very last part did calculations knowing that the standard uh, the standard kind of by code step is about 6 inches, and that's what mine is. And it makes it for a pretty easy step up. The other two are really, there's hardly any distance between those. So for older folks, then uh, that can tend to work pretty good. So I love them. I love the looks of them. They're making home look sharp. And when I get all the skirting around and all the trim on, because there's no trim on that building yet, then I think it'll look really nice. So yeah, uh, just super excited by it. Um, and then Off Grid Me says, I don't like it that cold. My air conditioner is set at 80 right now. Oh, there you go. Yep, I can relate. I just love warm temperatures. James says the 270 would be strictly for self-defense. I'd only shoot one of them if I had to. Well, that makes sense, James. That you'd be a little worried about, could be a little worried. Again, I have never heard of anyone in Cochise County running into a coyote that had the stupidity enough to tackle one of these local ranchers or people, period. It's not an urban area. Urban areas, or even in some real rural areas where they've never been harassed by people, they can get bold and a little too assertive. So there is a danger there, but it's I've never heard of the danger here. I actually, a little bit of a footnote there. I've actually worked on coy wolves and actually uh, birds. Yeah, that's it. I've worked on birds. Animals that were hybridized with wolves and now are a bigger animal. They're 60 pounds. They're as tall as some German Shepherds, and they bring down deer. It's a different creature altogether. So I worked for a couple winters on them in the 1980s. Uh, and they're an amazing animal. They really are. Sheridan says, I'm at 4650 elevation, Leslie Canyon Wilderness, and the Three Sisters Desert variant crop style works here with tepary beans, corn, mesquite, no aquaponics, rabbits, and two kinds of heat tolerant chicks. That makes sense, Sheridan. And the lovely thing about Cochise is there's a lot of folks that do grow things. And the lady that sold me the uh, produce on Saturday at the same farmer's market I was selling my Paulownia trees, she sold me beets, beet greens, tomatoes, and yeah, I got those from her. And she gardens on like a half acre, I think, and looks like she does really well because she's selling it. Um, Off Grid Me says, I also admire your hard work. As old as you are, I admire you for all your hard work. Oh, thanks so much, Off Grid Me. You know, and again, I've mentioned that many times. I'm just a really, really, really blessed old guy. I just am. I was always a very uh, active younger adult, as in I was paid to climb into Eagle's Nest. That was my job for a season. And so I loved climbing, skiing, and hiking. And even today, I can, without any issues, do a high elevation hike for several miles and not think about it really, just have fun. Yeah. And then lifting things and all that, it just has to be done, carefully, but as long as I do it carefully, I'm good. And I love hard work, honestly. It's fun. And yeah, and especially when you're building things. Um, Nanny says, I was so sad to see the remnants of the fire in Miller Canyon, Don. Yeah, yeah, the canyons, Miller and Carr and Ramsey, they're really subject to fires and arson, unfortunately, and really, really sad for sure. Uh, but the good news is it didn't devastate any of those areas, and there's still great birding. Trust me on that one. James says, I've grown up around wild animals, and believe me, they do have a mind of their own. There's always a danger when humans interact with wild animals, willingly or not. Yeah, very true, James, and no question about that. You do have to be cautious with wild animals. I grew up in northeastern Canada around a lot of wild animals: black bear, moose, bobcat, lynx, the on and on and on. Cougar or eastern panther was extirpated. There may be a few drifting into that area by now. And it's a big soapbox of mine, so I won't get caught up in it, because so many friends and relatives absolutely love their dogs. But I have had so many bad run-ins with dogs that I would rather any day hike in mountain lion country than hike in the average suburb in the U.S. now. I'll just leave it at that. And trust me, that comes from experience. Um, And then Sabine says, "Are you planning on putting a railing on the porch and handrails? I'm old, so I always make myself aware of safety first." Sabine or Sabina, yeah, I will be doing that. It gets a little complicated, folks, because I want to do an overhead, or I plan to do uh, an overhead structure. And so that means I have to plan where the supporting poles for that awning come down and meet with the steps. And then from there, you have to make sure that the railings are not in the road, A, and B, they look aesthetically nice. So I haven't got a solid plan yet for that. When I do, then I can put the railings. But I've already been shopping for railings, and they'll be black metal, and they should be nice and sturdy. And I've already decided pretty much what they'll look like. But I'm open to essentially taking a look and making up my mind when I get real serious about it. Sheridan says, nice solid porch job and nice thorough go through on the pond. Who's visited the pond since? Thanks, Sheridan. It's funny. I was so lax. Well, I wouldn't say lax. I just didn't devote water resources to the pond for so long, maybe a year. And so many creatures just went, we're done. There's nothing here. And so, and it's going to take them a while to re-find it. Now, who has re-found it? Just one species so far, black-throated sparrow, that I've seen. Oh, and what's kooky, last night it was raining and I couldn't sleep because there was this frog noise. And I went out and there was a big bullfrog found his way to the pond. How on earth those things hop across the desert and find a pond, it's beyond me. That is one tough frog and one resilient species. Mosby's Man Ozark says, try planting perennial stuff. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'm definitely with flowers. With vegetables, I've got to do a little more planning and thinking. Now, speaking of planning and thinking, you guys could contribute here. What do you think would be good for fruit trees? I've locked in peach tree because they grow really well here, but I'm not sure what else. Any ideas? Let me know what you think. Let's see. Ozzy Rojas says, when do you think the house will be move-in ready? Wow. I'm always so paranoid about mentioning a date because it always gets pushed back because it just takes so much longer. It depends on finances, honestly, and or a spray foam company that wants to do a collaboration where they give me a discount, because I have to wire the place first and then spray foam it. Once that's done, I could literally move in. So with good fortune, we may be looking at next spring. So we'll see. But anyway, to be honest, I am really ready to do it, but I've had to learn patience through this and know the joy of building and just the benefits of that. No end of great workout and exercise, and not to spend too much time about that. But I was talking to a friend the other day, one of my friends actually from Northern Ireland who's coming in September to visit. And I moved here as a 65-year-old. And as a 71-year-old, I kid you not, I am stronger. My joints are better. When I first moved here, I could do ladder work for maybe half a day, maybe. And my knee would bother me enough so that I had to stay off of ladders and everything for days and then go back at it. Not any issues now. Up and down a ladder all day. 80-pound bags of cement, no issues. On and on and on. So I don't know what to say except for I'm super thankful. And a lot of it is genetic packaging too. My granddad was 101 when he passed. My uncle Don, who I was named after, was 92. He wanted me to go four-wheeling with him at 88 or something. So anyway, and it's a blessing. And I'm not trying to say I know what my health is going to be like even tomorrow, but all I can do is be thankful for today. Okay, here we go. Pelon Silhouette Sunrise says, "Hi, Don. I'm late getting here. Just saying hi. I'm in my second garden year. Growing veggies in the desert has been a learning experience for me. Cucumbers are working so far for me." Nice. Yeah, I've got some I'm going to plant this week, believe it or not. They're Armenian cucumbers. Whoops. I'm spoiler alert for another video. Here we go. My friend has been trying to get rid of bullfrogs for a decade in his pond. Yeah, I like them. And honestly, I felt bad for them because when the pond literally got so dry that nothing was in it but a little mud, they they were gone. But I expect to find their bodies, and there was no bodies in that pond. I mean, I showed everything on the video if you saw it. There was no bullfrog bodies anywhere. So somehow they got out and went somewhere, but I don't know where they went. And one is back, but I assume it's a new one. Oh, and there was a couple cool spadefoot toads in the pond too a couple nights ago. Sheridan says, "Harvest the bullfrogs." Yeah, that's true. I could. Never had frogs' legs, but I definitely eat wildlife. I grew up on moose and deer. Uh, and then, um, oh, and Deacon Mama says figs, maybe. You know, figs are okay, but I don't really, I never get excited about them, you know? It just, they are what they are. Yeah. Mulberry for sure. Good in the desert. Yeah, and apparently, if you treat them pretty good and water them okay, they tend to grow really, really well. So I am definitely leaning in that direction. And Daniel says, "Have you started on the inside yet?" Nope. Well, sort of. I've got some plumbing coming in now uh, to the toilet, the flush toilet, and then the kitchen sink. That's it. I'm so busy working on the outside. I am really, really looking forward to starting to work on that. Now, before I do that, folks, you have to remember that I have to get all of the power set up and wire that building. That's important. Okay. And then also all of the PEX, tubing and water, the water stuff goes in as well before the installation as well. So that means that uh, there's more work than you could imagine. But once those things are done, honestly, I'm looking forward to just working inside. Wow, compared to being up on the roof and doing all that stuff, that was hard work, but a lot of fun, honestly, being up there and harnessed in. And I love doing the MacGyverisms where I'm shoving all the sheet metal up on the roof and all of that stuff. I don't know whether you folks had as much fun as I did watching it, but I just had a blast doing that stuff. And I'll never forget some person said, "You're a senior, which roofing company are you going to hire?" I'm like, no, we're not hiring a roofing company. Anyway, I chased a bit of a rabbit trail back to gardening and stuff. Let's see. Our Horizon Homestead says, "Good afternoon. I hope all is well with you." Yeah, definitely well with me. Thank you. And then we've got Herbert Werner says, "Yes, thankful, no question." Pelonosilla Sunrise. I'm saying that wrong. Peloncillo Sunrise says bullfrogs are magic. Interesting. That's a loaded statement. James says, "You're blessed with your good health. I suffer from out of control diabetes. Doctors have no clue how to deal with it. I wouldn't wish my current health on my worst enemy." James, I'm so sorry. I think about that, and honestly, when you're healthy, sometimes you feel guilty. I'll be honest, sometimes I feel guilty because so many of my peers and so many friends I love and know are not doing well. And so, what should I do? Just sit around and feel guilty or just be thankful? It's hard to know how to process that, to be honest. I'm a bit of a softie, as you can tell. Okay, here we go. Stony Creek Homestead says, I think sweet potatoes do well in the desert. They like heat. Ooh, and I love sweet potatoes. Even artichokes. Artichokes I'll eat on pizza or something, but I won't go out of my way for them. Um, Sam Fusa is shouting, saying, Hey, Don, do you think the climate in Cochise County is the same as Havasu? It's brutal right now. Hope you'll forgive me. I had fun with that, with all the caps. Uh, with Havasu, uh, with Lake Havasu, I think they're hotter. I could be wrong. Yeah, right now it's 91 inside of my cabin. Outside it's going to be probably 96 or something right now. Sabine 3191 says citrus tree, mulberry, fig trees, Barbados cherry. That's interesting. I'm following a lady on YouTube growing in the garden for inspiration and tips on what to grow. She lives in Mesa, Arizona. The only thing about the difference between Mesa and me is I'm at 4,300 feet, and some citrus can't handle being at 4,300 feet. So I have to kind of learn more. And then Garzon Homestead says, the frogs were a surprise to me as well with my pond, as well as here in northern Arizona. Yeah, it definitely is a welcome surprise. You just never think anything can handle living in this kind of climate. 1 million pumpkin figs are so easy to grow, and propagation with figs are so easy. Figs keep giving back. But like Dawn said, not very excited over figs. Yeah, sorry, I'll pass on them. Daniel Ruiz says, usually where peaches grow, apricots also do well. Apricots I'll eat, but I won't, clap my hands. I eat everything practically, but I won't get real excited about apricots. Danny says, you can rough in the electric wiring in a day. Do you have a diagram? No, I'm getting engineer Ed to help me with that. And he said it's super easy and fast too. One of the hard labor things is my wiring to the big home from the solar is about 125 feet away. So I'll be trenching all that. So that'll be a good workout. James says, don't feel guilty at all. You go live your life the best you can while you can. Enjoy yourself. Thank you, James. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sam USA 7361 says, haha, we're at 116 right now. Oh, wow. Are you in Mesa or Phoenix? Got to be somewhere like that. Or Lake Havasu. Maybe you're in Havasu. Or Havasu, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And Garizona Helmstead says, I'm a little east of you. I'm near Ash Fork, Arizona. Okay. Deacon Mama says, Chicago types might work for you. How about date palms? That's an option. James says, I could never eat a bullfrog. I just can't get past the mental picture of me doing that. LOL. Yeah, I don't have any qualms about eating practically anything, to be honest. Sheridan says, yes, sweet potatoes do grow well there. Oh, wow, cool. Tomatillos and nopales also require no watering. Sheridan, what are tomatillos and nopales? Are they a type of sweet potato? Don't know, never heard of those. What about grapes? Several friends have vines that do really well over there. You betcha. And guess what's out in my yard right now? A grape vine that's this wide and this tall. And I just need a home for them. I can't figure out where I'm going to put them. Sheridan says it's about learning to like what we can grow. Yeah, that's a good point, Sheridan. Cool Sense, frogs will not be on my menu. Deacon Mama says 1 million pumpkins. Okay. And Sam says he's at Havasu, Lake Havasu. 160 degrees. I'd pass out just from getting my front door, from opening my front door. Frank says bullfrogs absorb water through their skin. You definitely must have an oasis somewhere close by where the bullfrogs come from. It cannot survive without water. Yeah, actually, good point, Frank. Literally, the next property down from me, like 500 feet away or so, there's a wash which stays damp all year round. So that is probably part of the picture. Edward says, do you have a well and how many gallons per minute? I do not have a well, nor am I planning on one. And the reason being this. When I first moved here, I phoned a company, the local company that most people use, about wells. And how much would you charge? And the lady was very friendly and said, well, where do you live? And I told her where I lived. And she says, oh, great. We only have to go down about 100 feet. And then, but we always go down about another 200 feet so that we're sure. And when we get down 100 feet, that's about $18,000. I'm like, okay, thank you. Click. Because like a lot of off-grid folks, I do rainwater harvesting. And currently, spoiler alert, guys, which I'll feature in a video, I have two big 2,500 gallon tanks. Both of those are 4/5 full as we speak. So, and I'm still adding another 600 square feet of roof space, harvesting space in the future. So there is no need for me to do well at all. And I know from living here for 6 years how much water I use, and my little 1,200 gallon tank is enough. Now, there's no flush toilet connected to that, but even so, it does its thing, and I think I can safely say I'll have plenty of water. All right, and R. Gryzen, a Homestead 2729 says, I used to get them from my grandfather. He loved bullfrogs. I assume he must love them, not to hug them, but to do other things. We've got Deborah Spiker, maybe? Deborah Spiker? I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Deborah. Says, hi, everyone from Iowa. Hi, thanks so much for dropping by. And then eating frogs, that's disgusting. I had them in a restaurant one time, etc. Okay. Panachick Mama says tomatillos have a papery husk on the outside of the fruit and are green when ripe. They look like tomatoes. Okay. Sam Tusa says, have you encountered any rattlesnakes or Gila monsters or scorpions? Super question. Thank you. Scorpions, I have seen about 2 little puny ones. That's it. Just ignore them. I don't have the right habitat for them. It's not rocky enough, I guess. Snakes, yeah. I have had removed from my property 2 Western Diamondbacks, 1 Mojave Green. Those are the really toxic ones. And then I have king snakes on the property, pink racers or coach whips, and gopher snakes, blind snake, it's called. I think that's it for snakes. Yeah. And let's see, we've got Nanny says, how far are you from the San Pedro River? I heard black bears frequent that area, which is pretty cool. Yeah, black bears, Nanny, I grew up with them. I'm not bothered by them. They just kind of do their thing. And in this area, they're a real mix. Some of them come down hummingbird feeders and are not afraid of people. Others are really shy. I saw one at Carr Canyon when I was filming birds, and it saw me. It was coming to get a drink at the little pool I was filming warblers at, and I was really quiet because I was filming, and it got pretty close. And then I wanted to make sure it knew I was there, and so I banged my tripod, and it freaked out and bolted. So anyway, so I'm not bothered by bears. And then, all right, we're getting great questions rolling in here. Oh, and a lovely $4.99, which is Super Chat. That's that little dollar button at the bottom of the chat. And Daniel says, we're enjoying watching your videos. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Daniel. And thanks for the thoughtful donation. Every bit contributes, and I can head to the Lowe's and Home Depot and buy more stuff. All right, what else we got going on? We got, do you have caliche under your land? I sure do. As a matter of fact, we've got about, we've got about a foot of topsoil, and then from there it's caliche forever, and that stuff is hard. The wonderful thing about it is, though, you can put a house on it, which I've done, and you know, that house has been in place for 3 years now, 2 years, and I can put a level on it anywhere, and it hasn't changed at all. Why? It's just hard caliche under there that's like, gosh, it's almost like cement. So nothing goes anywhere with that. Let's see. We've got, I'm late, but here, good to see ya. And Dreamland allergic, I think is what it says. Anyway, dreamy. Anyway, thanks for coming by. Says I'm late, but I'm here. Good to see you, and you as well. If you know the gallons of water in the pond, can you supplement with hydrogen peroxide to combat algae? It kills algae quickly and also dissipates fast. Well, I don't think I need to, because I now got my new fancy filter, which, if you watch the last video, I put in place. It's a DIY 5-gallon bucket filter system. And exciting things, folks, I can already tell that the water is a little bit cleaner, and I'm hoping it'll get even better. And then we've got T-Dog from Tennessee says hello. Hey, T-Dog. And then we've got Adam Wing 9301 says 2 milliliters per gallon. Okay, that's pretty light. Panda Chick Mama says Nogales are the green, Nopales are the green pads of the cactus pear. Not only does the cactus pear have the edible green pads, but the fruit they bear are delicious in jellies or juice to drink. Be careful when harvesting. Yeah, I've had them. They're really good, and they grow in my yard. And Nanny says, could you theoretically plumb your toilet temporarily? Yes, I could, Nanny, and that's on the radar for sure. Deborah says, you got my last name right the first time. So Deborah Spiker. I think that's it. Sorry if I blew it again. Sheridan says tomatillos are Mexican husk tomatoes and are crunchy and tart, used in salsa verde. And then nopales are pala cactus, great grilled, but some eat candied too. Nice. And we've got Paula says hi. Sam says, Dawn, I noticed all the chirping from some type of songbird in your last video. Could you post what type we're hearing. I think it would be cool to know. Just a suggestion. Yeah, I need to do those. In the last video, it was Northern Mockingbird. Uh, Sometimes Scott's Oriole, which is a beautiful little singer, they come in and drink from a hummingbird feeder. They have a beautiful song as well. Dreamy is just fine. Okay. I'm glad to hear the new filter is working and working well on the pond. Yeah, thank you. Oh, folks, wow, cool. 101 people are here, and 90 of you have done a thumbs up. How kind is that? That helps the algorithm and helps things for sure. So I really, really appreciate it. Now we've got Dreamy says, I'm dreamily allergic. So Dreamy is just most. Call me that anyways. Cool, Dreamy. Got it. Brett says, is there land close by you for sale? The only thing I know is about a half mile from me is a lovely big home, but it's all built. And it's solar and really nice, but it's a nice modern home. And that's the only thing that I'm aware of. Ah, Dreamy Lynn is allergic to bull. I got it. Super. Love that. James says, Don, how is the sprayed-in foam insulation work out for you? Beautifully, James. I love this stuff. Honestly, it keeps this little place manageably cool and nicely warm in the summer. I'm planning on doing the same thing in the big home. It's not cheap, but what it does for both heating and cooling is phenomenal. The other benefit is soundproofing. Once I'm in the little cabin, things are so much quieter. It's incredible. So, big fan of open cell spray foam. And you have to go back about 5 years ago, to see this being spray foamed, but there's a video of it. So if you ever want to watch it, you can. Paula says, love seeing your birds. And Paula, honestly, when I get a little more time, when the house build is a little less intense, I plan to feature more nature-oriented videos compiled or in a compilation with build stuff, because birding here and birds are amazing. For example, I've got to share that first one of the season. This morning I was walking on the property and a beautiful little Cassin sparrow was doing aerial flight songs. They could fly up about 100 feet and spiral down and sing as they go. So we're not talking a grubby little sparrow you see hopping around at McDonald's. We're talking an elegant tan and dark little sparrow that's beautifully colored. And they're a Mexican species. Catch this out. I should say catch this one or check this out. Cassin sparrows in all of North America are pretty much only found in this region. So they're such a rarity that birders will go way out of their way, especially if they're from Europe or wherever, to come to the area. So what's fun is I sometimes get to host them and go, yeah, it's a yard bird for me. But I always like to call them monsoon sparrows because they never start displaying and singing until monsoons are here. So really cool little bird. Again, Cassin sparrow. Oh my gosh, Morten the Norwegian is here. Hello from Norway. Morten, not to be confused with the rock group Aha, which I really like. Let's see, what else we got? Yeah, let's hit the like button, please. Oh, wow, that's insane. 111 likes. Beautiful. All right. Be careful living in your home and never finishing it. Good point. Although, to be honest, I think there are a lot more toxic things in my life than that. I think just driving in a car with all the plastic toxics, that are so close to you and come through the heat vents and on and on. I think that's actually worse, but I could be wrong. I remember when you first landed, I'm impressed by your resolve. Oh, that's so kind. Folks, I just want to tell you a huge part of just the delight and joy of being here is just coming on to the videos and reading your comments. I literally think I have the kindest people of any YouTube video produced. As a matter of fact, I challenge anyone, go find a channel which has less negativity and more encouragement. I don't think you'll find one. And that's a credit to all of you. Matter of fact, I remember when you were sleeping in a tent. Yes, from early May to 4th of July weekend. And then Dreamy says, I enjoy watching the birds and wildlife. That pond of yours is a wonderful addition. Yeah, and if the budget allows at some point, or maybe I should stick it in the Amazon wish list, a bold shout out here to that for a wildlife cam to hook one of those up. Herbert says, love watching birds. Yeah, birding, honestly, mental health practitioners will tell you that birding actually increases your mental health and reduces stress. Literally, they can monitor that. As soon as a person puts a pair of binoculars on and starts a walkout, your heart rate slows and your whole tension level decreases. It's a wonderful mental health thing. Sheridan says, just remember this is affordable desert living. So Don's doing this month to month, paycheck to paycheck to keep from having a mortgage. And if he finishes too soon, he'll have nothing to do. No, Sheridan, there will always be things to do. Gardening, birding, the thing about me is that my imagination goes forever. Even my grade school teachers would say, oh my goodness, this kid and his imagination. Anyway, Efren R says, always enjoy your videos. Glad your pond is going again. Me too. And it's just a joy. It really is. I love it. And I can hardly wait for things to come back. Oh, and by the way, folks, I've signed a peace treaty with the mule deer. I'm not going to chase them away. I'm not going to do anything. I can't defeat them anyway. I am just going to wire every plant I have on the property and let them chug away because I got plenty of water now. So that's the spoiler alert. I am now going to hoist the white flag. I surrender to the mule deer. Some people love them. They are pretty, and I can look out the window and they're right there, 20, 30 feet away. But I guess I grew up eating deer and I was a wildlife researcher and I've seen so many deer that the Bambi effect doesn't work with me, but they are an amazing animal and I will give them credit for that. We've got, let's see, we've got Breathweb. I'm currently at Reelfoot Lake in Western Tennessee. We have tons of bald eagles and osprey. Oh, wow, so cool. Nanny says, well, Don, you have a full propane tank waiting and ready for your big home. I sure do. It's just sitting there. And I'm going to be stingy with it. I'm going to do on-demand hot water. And if the mini splits don't work for heating, I will get a propane heater or a propane furnace for it. That's a play it by ear, see what happens thing. Dreamy says, birds can be like little comedians. I feed them just to watch them. Yeah, what a blessing birds are. Jimmy says, did you ever consider buying those source hydro panels to make water? I did. And one of my neighbor has one, and I don't like them, honestly. They are loud, and they don't give you a lot of water. And I've got literally my biggest worry right now, folks, I kid you not, I'm worried about overflow from my big tanks. It is so close to being filled. Both of those 2,500 gallon tanks are so close to being filled. And so uh, I've got to do something because I don't want to waste water. So I've got more water than I need right now. Um, Sheridan says, those panels are lousy. They barely create 1 gallon per 24 hours. Well, Sheridan definitely tells it like it is. All right. Danny says, Sheridan, you're funny, but correct, I'm afraid. Nomads, we says, we have a casting sparrow on the property. Oh, cool. I wonder where you are because they are, again, they're so restricted in their range. And it's cool that you know about that bird. Breathweb says, will you do a price breakdown of water tanks and the build? I will at some point, honestly. I want to wait till it's ready to live in, and then I can give a honest scenario. And I know it's going to be more expensive than I think it is, but I'll tell you, folks. Oh, by the way, I had a person go, which was, one of the very few negative comments I ever get, but they said, look, Don, essentially, I think well, they said it in a way that would indicate they didn't think I was very intelligent because I could just do a manufactured home, plunk it on the property, and I could not have to deal with all the effort of building. And I shot back, trust me, before I chose to build, I priced manufactured homes. A 1,200 square foot, because this is what this will be with a porch, roughly. A 1,200 square foot manufactured home is light years from the cost that I'm putting into this. Again, I would say right now I'd probably get around, I think around 25 or 30,000 in it. I don't think I have anything more. I would challenge anyone to find a manufactured home that was brand new for that amount of money. A Dreamy says, yeah, a wildlife cam would be awesome. Hello from Buckeye, Arizona, says Greta Ramses 1510. Hey, glad you stopped by. As Stony Creek Homestead says, Don, I think you can turn off the ads during the live stream and then turn them back on after. Sorry about that, folks. I'll look into that. Hello, just joined your live chat. The local critters like fresh vegetables also. Oh, they do. And honestly, folks, the mule deer, jackrabbits, desert cottontails, all of those guys have trained me really well that local creatures eat stuff. So trust me, I'll keep that in mind. James says, I really like your content. That is such a delight, honestly. I just so appreciate that, folks. And I wonder, because I've did X amount of hours editing the video and put it up, and I go, okay, I've seen it so many times, I'm not sure how interesting this will be. But you folks are the proof, and I really appreciate it. I was shocked that it's humbling and shocking that over 2.5 million people, or I should say, I've been viewed over 2.5 million times at this point. That's a lot of airtime. So I'm very thankful. Puzzled, but thankful. This is a cool question. Samtusa 7361. It's a personal one, but I'm fine with answering it. Dawn, you're such a great guy. How did you avoid getting hitched? It's really an interesting story. But the short answer is, when I was younger, I was very adventuresome. I was in Australia, some here, the Congo, filming mountain gorillas there, on and on and on. And also, I'm friendly and I love people, but I'm a little on the feral, non-committed side. Okay. And so I just did a self-assessment. I was like, I would not want me as a spouse just because I just am too independent. And that would be really hard to be married to someone like that. So the kindest thing is not to. So there we go. Daniel Ruiz says, what's your next project? Great, Daniel. We'll sneak preview. It's gardening. I am going to make a little small garden, raised bed garden, and plant cucumbers, lettuce, and tomatoes in it. So I hope I'll get to that this week. I should. I don't see why not. And then we'll upload a video for you. So that'll be cool. Now, James says, deer meat is excellent, some of the best meat a human can eat, bar none. Yeah, trust me, I know. I was raised on it in northeastern Canada. There was always deer meat or moose meat in our freezer, along with no end to wild berries. And my mom was an amazing cook. I mean, I was a healthy kid. I'll just tell you that. You know, I mean, I could run, climb, whatever for, you know, let's just say I was an extremely healthy kid. I would have, moms today would have been driven nuts by having me as a kid, because at 12 years old, I'm 80 feet up in a maple tree. You know, as a teenager, don't come in until it's black dark, because after dark, because I've been wandering in the forest, etc., etc. Anyway, very healthy kid, and I had lots of great food, including deer and moose meat. Oh, wow. Moro, I recognize, long-time subscriber. Hello. So cool to catch one of these. Yeah, we're almost wrapped it up, but it's so great to see you as well. And monsoons are coming. You should go live when you get one this afternoon. People love watching rain. Stay safe, young man. Oh, thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, we've had 2 great monsoon rains already. It's been nuts. I mean, literally, you look up my driveway, it looks like a lake. I mean, literally, water on a lake. You don't see no dirt, you know. So really, really cool. I love it. And you can hardly hear yourself think in this cabin with the roaring sound of big raindrops pounding on metal roof. And we might be getting another one really soon. Manufactured home for 30,000 Arizona, says James. Good luck with that. Yeah, exactly. E.T. is here. Hey, E.T. Hi, Dawn. Hey, E.T., are you getting notifications that I'm on lives? I have a feeling no. In that case, I need to email you. Oh my gosh, hello from Kirtland Warbler country here in Michigan. Yeah, I was in your country. Did you know that? For my birthday last year, for the 70th birthday, I saw, filmed, and enjoyed Kirtland's Warblers up in Grayling, Michigan. Too cool. Barrett Greg says, I'm retired, so I enjoy watching off-grid building. Very, very cool. Herbert says, I wish I were off-grid. What a great dream. It's, oh man, I have to pinch myself different times. I mean, it's nuts. If I would have written my life script, I would have never guessed it would have been this cool. I mean, I'm not smoke screening. I'm honest about that. This adventure ranks right up there with filming mountain gorillas in the Congo, living in a tent in Australia for 6 months. I don't know what to compare it to. It's incredible. And just, I think, folks, what I really love, maybe it's the rebel in me, the rebellious streak, the rebel in me. I love going, big bully power companies going, Oh, yeah, so we're going to raise your power bill. No, you're not. Big water companies go, well, we can't tell you why, but we're raising your water bill. No, you're not. The landlord going, well, Don, I'm really sorry, but that little room that's 10 by 12 is now $900 a month in California. I'm sorry, but we have to do that. No, you're not. There's no rent here. Very thankful. Nanny says, I love being single too. Being in control of the remote has its advantage. LOL. And Dreamy says, do you like some of the natural edibles that grow in your area, or have you tried some? Yes, I love prickly pear. I don't harvest them like I should. I just don't get to it for whatever reason. Now, the other thing I'm going to do, and if you like, folks, I'll post it. Apparently, you can make a really nice tea out of desert sumac berries. Now, I've eaten them dry, and they're a little dry, but the vitamin C spike is serious. I mean, you go, whoa. You know how it is when I was a kid, you could buy these little sugar packets of citrus flavored sugar, basically, and you bite into it, and I can't remember what they were called. Maybe they were only available in Canada. Pixie sticks. That's what they were, pixie sticks. So you bite off the end, it's really bad for you, I know, and then you chew on the end and keep squeezing it, and more of this powdery substance comes out. It's all sugary. Well, the orange flavored one, wow, what a hit that was to your brain. Well, desert sumac berries give me a similar hit. So sometime I need to make a video about making a tea made out of them. The Native Americans used to use it all the time. Greta says, no monsoon yet in Buckeye. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. We here for weeks, it threatened, like from the end of June, it kind of threatened, like, we're going to do rain. No, you're not. And nothing happened. But so much so that this past week, when it threatened rain, I just was sarcastic and going, oh, sure, clouds, you're going to do something? I don't think so. Boy, did they. 2 serious rains, and who knows what's coming up in the next few days. ET says no notification still. Okay, we're going to have to take care of that, ET, and email you personally. Sam Storm says, what did you do back in Canada for a living? You know those, Sam, those crazy guys you see putting radio collars on black bears, running around with telemetry equipment, listening to the beep, 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 beep on coy wolves and climbing into eagles' nests? That was me. I was a wildlife tech for the feds. I was a contractor. I wasn't a civil servant. And so I contracted my services out when I was in Canada to that. And I did that from age 19 to age 35. Herbert Warner says, love it. No, you're not raising my bill. Nope, not happening here. Sheridan says, today was the first and only alert of your live stream in 3 years, and it came at 30 minutes before the start. Oh, wow. That's kooky. Who knows what Google, YouTube is doing with this stuff? I don't know. Oh, wow, guys, we've gone overtime. I'll give it another 8 minutes just because there's so many of you still here enjoying it, and a lot of you came late. But just to tell you, folks, since the consensus is that you want more lives, I'm going to try to do one. I'm going to try to do them more, and let's shoot for once a month if you're cool with that. Deacon Mama says bye and have a great day. Bye, Deacon Mama, and thanks for coming by. And James says, Don, I'm looking and researching in the South Georgia area to see if I can do shed to home conversion. I believed I could do much better there than I could ever in Arizona. Arizona is simply too hot for me. You know, James, I think you may be onto something. I think Georgia is a lot more relaxed. It's going to be county by county. That would be fun to know. I'll have to look that up sometime. Um, but yeah, and the beauty of it with Georgia is your winters, although you get snow and cold some, it's not like, northeastern Canada where I'm from. So that would be fun to check out. Michelle says you have to choose all when you click the notification bell. Oh, interesting, Michelle. So when you click the notification bell, there's a spot you click all. So ET, that may help. I don't know. Off-grid me says, what was the name of those berries that you're going to make tea with? I looked away for a minute. Desert sumac, okay? And they don't produce every year, but I've got a lot of them on my 4 acres here. So when one isn't producing, the other is. They're small. What would be the size? Well, they're bigger than BBs, but not a lot. But they're red, and they are super, super flavorful. James says, the humidity of the southeast is much more intolerable upon the human body than dry heat is out with Arizona desert. It's important to seek high elevation property, 30 degrees cooler. Yeah, that would make sense for sure. And then Paula says, Danny, it's the little things. And Dreamy says, not all of Arizona is hot. Up in the whole mountains, whoops, better pay more attention here. Not all of Arizona is hot. Up in the White Mountains and Flagstaff and Prescott is cooler. As a matter of fact, I avoided Flagstaff and all those areas. Number one, too expensive. Number two, there's snow. My rule is if snow shows up in the winter, it needs to be a freak accident or just something infrequent. And sure enough, in 6 years, I've only had it twice, I think, on my property. And then Ed says, ET says, I will look. And then Lori says, Dawn, how far are you from Douglas? Douglas is a good hour, roughly an hour drive from me. Sierra Vista is normally a good choice because there's a lot of amenities and it's closer for me. Michelle says, I think it defaults to personalized if you don't choose after clicking the notification bell, and that leaves it up to YouTube to decide for you. Alrighty, I'm going to look at one more comment or two, and wow, even still with 126 people watching, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Gary says, Dawn, love your videos and how you solve the various problems you encounter. You're an inspiration to us who watch you and inspire us to get busy. Gary in Illinois. Thanks, Gary. I so appreciate that. And you folks are an inspiration to me. And in what way is to be thankful and affirming. A lot of you folks take your time out to leave comments that are really, really heartfelt, and I really thrive on them. So thank you. Darcy says, grow microgreens, dense nutrients, and easier than battling with the desert. Oh, that sounds like something to check out for sure. James says, LOL, Dawn. I think the same as you with respect. I think the same as you with respect to snowfall. Yeah, I always say if I want to encounter snow, I want to watch it on a movie. Lori says, I asked because I'll be your neighbor when I know it's safe for me down that way. Cool. Panda Chick says, in Missouri, we have a sumac, Rus galibra, I believe, that is similar to your desert sumac and makes a delicious tart drink. Just strain out the hairs from the seeds. And Off Grid Bee says, I'm from Missouri. And then Off Grid Bee, for now, I will be going to Arizona. There we go. Very, very cool. Well, folks, I wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you who stopped by, all 141 or more of you. And what a delight to have you here. And as always, I can be reached in the by my email. You can always send me an email. And I answer them pretty quick overall. Sometimes if I get busy, I don't as quick as I'd like, but I try to answer any, especially with questions that I go, I definitely need to let them know about that one. And so you're always welcome to email me. And I appreciate all of you subscribing. Many thanks again to all of you who go down into the details of the videos and click on the Amazon wish list. I mean, I've got no end of stuff that even when I put on gloves, those were gifts. So thank you ever so much for that. Thank you for Buy Me a Coffee. In my case, Buy Me a Gatorade. That's in the description. You click on that and you can send me enough money for a Gatorade a month. I mean, or it can be really a small amount, whatever you think, $2 or whatever. That's always helpful too. And of course, for those of you who've clicked the super chat here, those gifts are appreciated too. Thank you so much. And again, thank you very much for all those 142 people that smashed the like button. And we'll look forward to seeing you on another video soon and another live a lot sooner than this one has been. This one took months for me to show up. So trust me, it'll be quicker next time. Thanks a lot, folks. See you again. Bye.